Hello, everyone. This chapter of waking up in the morning is pretty short. So he adds a third paragraph about customs of getting dressed. And these customs are related really to everything in life. And the general idea is that we pay attention to even the smallest tiny act. So I think it's important to remember it. It's not, he says, it's not something that you have to go back and do it again if you didn't do it right. It's just a general idea of paying attention to what side is more important in different things. So it is an extra pious act to commence all things with one's right side, because the Torah ascribes more importance to a person's right side, as was in the temple when sprinkling oil on a leper's right thumb and big one. There's many other examples when they traveled in the desert, even though for a long time they were traveling west. Yehuda, who was in the east, would actually start the movement. So they would do like almost like a circle of Yehuda going first, then the ones that were in the Darom, then the ones in the Tzafon, and the Ma'arav, and then the ones in Tzafon. Because also at that time people were doing what's called orientation. Orient comes from the east as opposed to the maps today, which are always pointing north. So according to Kabbalah, right signifies grace and compassion, while left signifies judgment and law. And with our actions, we should augment grace over judgment. I think we also talked about a different time about how in the court, the defendant and his lawyer sit on the right, while the prosecution and the district attorney sit on the left of the judge, um, not the other way around. I think for the same idea. Therefore, those who observe the extra pious custom are strict to eat with their right hands. Additionally, for washing and applying creams, one's right hand side precedes his left. When washing one's entire body, a person should first wash his head and then wash his right side. Also, when dressing, it is an extra pious act to begin with the right sleeve, and the same with pants and socks. When removing one's clothes, one should start with the left side, and that's basically saying that we're giving more importance to the right because we're leaving it covered for longer, even though it might be just a few seconds. Also, when we wash a person's body, God forbid, after they die, we start with the right side, and there's many other examples. Concerning shoes, the laws is more complex, and that is because we are told that everything connected to tying is with the left hand. For obviously, we're talking here about people who are righty. People who are lefties, everything is exactly the opposite. But concerning shoes, the law is more complex. On one hand, one should begin with the right side. On the other hand, we learn from the commandment to tie tefillin on one's left arm that for all matters involving tying, one is to start with the left side. Therefore, one first puts on his right and then left shoe without tying them, and then tying the laces. He starts with the left and then ties the right. So, somewhere in the back of my mind, being a Kohen, I remember Rav Tzuriel telling us that Rav Kook said that for Birkat Kohanim it should be the opposite, because, or for any other kind of taking off shoes for a mitzvah like chalitza um, or standing in a holy place, and that he said that we should actually start with the left, but I couldn't find it anywhere in the Olat Raya or in the Shut. So I'll just leave it like that, and I'll continue my research to try to find it. But last but not least about this, there's a famous story from 1997 when there was a helicopter crash. 74 pilots and men were killed, and they were on their way to a secret mission to try to um, arrange or practice the assassination of Saddam Hussein. And there was one soldier who actually promised himself or his parents that he will always do this order of tying the shoe, the left shoe before the right shoe, and he realized that because of the running, he forgot, so he went back to his tent, and he wasn't on that helicopter, and he became a Chazer B'Tshuva, a full Chazer B'Tshuva, and he tells the story. I'm not, again, Rev Lamed will immediately say that we don't have to go back, but that's what saved his life. Um, so I think it's important to remember that detail as well. A person who is left-handed, like I said before, starts with his right side, both for putting on his shoes and tying the laces. The objective of this halacha is to ensure that every deed we do, even such a mundane act as putting on our shoes, is done as precisely as possible. For indeed, people put on their shoes every day, so why not learn to do it in the most perfect way? Certainly, one who accidentally mixes up the sequence need not take off his shoes in order to put them on again in the appropriate order. With these halachot, Chazal teach us that to attribute value to every act we perform along with their details, thereby helping us to grasp the profundities of the actions that make up our lives. So even something that is simple and not considered holy by other people, I think is. And one last thing about that, which is not here because these aren't the halachot of going to the bathroom. We learn in halacha that a lot of things that we do seem to be like so non-important, but the halacha, especially in Achronim, wanted to make our life even better in terms of our observance and closest to Hashem. So they even tell us what sides to go to sleep on. That's already in the Gemara, but the Achronim explain it. They tell us what direction our bed should be, what direction our toilet seat should be, especially in a synagogue. So we're not facing backwards to the ark or revealing ourselves to the ark, even though it's a different room completely. I think we mentioned that before, that if your synagogue is facing east uh, towards Jerusalem, then the bathroom should face north south or south north. And one last example is about wiping ourselves after we go to the bathroom. So this again is mentioned in the Shulchan Aruch, and apparently the Muslims are even more makpid on this than we are, because they say that if you shake somebody's left hand, you're insulting them, because our left hand is the one that's used to wipe ourselves after going to the bathroom. So um, ever since COVID started, that's what I was makpid on. At the beginning, it was a little bit hard to remember because I never grew up like that, but I think that perfecting ourselves one step at a time, one little thing at a time, is very, very important for our life to basically mature spiritually. I think that's what I should call it. And Bezrat Hashem will be able to learn more about this. So I'm gonna stop the recording because I have an announcement.